Danger Close: The Battle of Long Tan is a new Australian war drama film directed by Kriv Stenders, who most people will know from the two Red Dog movies. And Danger Close is based on the real-life Battle of Long Tan during the Vietnam War, where a platoon of young and inexperienced Australian and New Zealand armed forces were surrounded and severely outnumbered by the Viet Cong forces and had to somehow fight their way out and survive. Obviously, this movie is a big deal for people who had family involved in these events and the Vietnam War in general. The filmmakers even took some inspiration from a different war movie called Act of Valor, where a lot of ex-military Australians were cast in the film as extras. Danger Close stars Fimmel as Major Harry Smith, who will probably catch a few Vikings fans off guard, as Fimmel doesn't have his signature big Viking beard in this film. But the movie starts the Harry Smith character out as someone who doesn't want to be with the group that he's been assigned to. His friends are all off fighting somewhere else, and so Danger Close gradually shows the character learning and being forced to trust his fellow soldiers as they go through this horrific event. Smith forms a bond of sorts with young Private Paul Large, played by Daniel Webber, who is one of the many 19 to 20-year-olds who have been drafted in the war, and it's their relationship of learning to trust each other that gets a lot of the spotlight in the film. Other than that, the movie isn't necessarily focused on developing characters or having anyone stand out. Danger Close is focused on the event of Long Tan, and is primarily focused on the battle. If you're someone who likes seeing war films that cut straight to the action, then Danger Close is probably for you. This is boots on the ground, gritty, very muddy, and relatively small scale action. You're not going to get the massive aerial dogfights that you saw in Dunkirk. The movie is nearly 2 hours of this group of soldiers trying to survive in this one location. That doesn't mean we don't have some bigger moments, where the budget still manages to accommodate some big helicopter and jet moments, or some CGI, mortar fire. But this is also where the message of Danger Close can also be a little bit muddy. A lot of the time is spent with the film honouring a lot of the young soldiers that died during the battle, and rightfully so. The filmmakers' intentions are clearly to be as respectful as possible. There's attention paid to the massive loss of life on both sides of the war, where you see lots of lingering footage of dead Australian and Viet Cong soldiers. The only issue with this is that there are so many battle sequences during the film that feature big, gratuitous, slow motion action battle shots, sometimes of a big guy firing a massive gun, or someone is getting blown away by a grenade. I can appreciate the movie being respectful to the soldiers, as it should be. However, you lose some of the impact of that Australian battler spirit and message when so many of the action scenes feel glorified. The movie is very bloody, but it isn't over the top gory like Hacksaw Ridge. There are a lot of moments that focus on someone suddenly talking to a friend on the battlefield, and then next minute their friend has been shot. So in portraying that side of the horror of war, the movie succeeds for sure. That being said, Danger Close wears its influences on its sleeves. You get the Vietnam era needle drops, the napalm, and orange tinged setting that's familiar to anyone who's seen Apocalypse Now, Full Metal Jacket, or Platoon. Danger Close doesn't really add anything new or do anything different than what you've seen in other Vietnam War films. So if you're not really into war movies, then this could wind up feeling a little bit generic for you. I'd say this movie is definitely more for war film buffs or anyone who has an interest or connection to the army or these events. If you're like that, then you'll get the most out of Danger Close. For the most part, Danger Close is a solid retelling of a real event that changes certain aspects and adds new characters. So don't go in expecting a documentary. There are some strong performances, especially from Fimmel, and I appreciated a lot of the character building conversations and moments, in addition to a lot of the strategizing that went into trying to save this platoon. But as I said, if you prefer a war film that just focuses on the action and still does a lot to try and be respectful to the soldiers that died, then this film will be for you, even if the message of the film gets a little bit muddy. Danger Close: The Battle of Long Tan gets a 7 out of 10 from me. Guys, I hope you like this review. If you want to see more reviews just like this one, stay right here for your Mono Fix. Bye guys.